Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the She Rises Studios Collaboration Over Competition event. My name is Hanna Olivas. I am one of the founders of She Rises Studios, and I am going to be today's host and moderator. We have 6 incredible women who are powerhouses in their own niche, and we're going to talk about what is collaboration versus competition. Is it healthy? There's so many different things. And this group of women I personally selected because I felt that they had some amazing strategies to add to this. So we are going to run it panel style moderation. We're keeping the event 90 minutes or less. For those of you who are watching, please get notebooks and pens ready because you are in for a real treat. So first, we're going to go around the virtual room and introduce each one. I'm going to start with Angela Bell, if she can go ahead and introduce herself and tell us what she does.
Thanks, Hannah. Hi, everybody. My name is Angela Bell, and I am the founder of the Inspired and Profitable Mompreneur Movement podcast and soon-to-be TV show. I am a business and success coach for mom entrepreneurs, or mompreneurs, as I love to call them, and I help them launch, grow, and monetize their own business to create time and financial freedom for themselves and their families. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much, Angela. How do people find you?
So people can find me either on my website at www.angelabell.ca or on Instagram, it's i.am.angelabell, or on Facebook, same thing, I am Angela Bell, and they can check out the podcast as well, the Inspired and Profitable Mompreneur podcast, on all of the major hosting sites.
Thank you. Awesome. So next up, we have Pamela Kurt, also known as Pam Kurt.
Hi, thank you for having me. Again, I'm honored to be in the presence of these women, and I've got to learn a little bit about them through other collaborations, and very impressive panel, very impressive panel. So Pam is fine. I think when people say Pamela, I usually feel like I'm in trouble. So I've been trying to get that down to Pam Kurt. I am an attorney. I've run several successful businesses. I'm a woman entrepreneur. I've been able to kind of crush, I think, the legal field, if I say it modestly. It is a male-dominated field, and we were able to have the second largest firm in our county, and definitely start a reputation there. And in the interim, one of the things I do is family law, and so I usually see people when they're transitioning out of their worst. And hopefully to their best. So with that, that's kind of where the passion lies for me personally, with different businesses and so on. And I've opened another company called Best Version of You. And that's also becoming a movement, as like a lot of these other ladies, there's different areas in your life. And the goal for my clients in that business is to dream, believe, and achieve, so that they look outside the box and become everything that they want to be. And we've started that movement. We have that signature coaching program. We've done local things as well as some national and international things. So again, very happy to be here, and look forward to everyone's comments. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Pam. So next I'm going to have Lovely introduce herself and tell us who she is and what she does.
Hi, everyone. This is Lovely here, Lovely Laguerre. I am very grateful to be a part of this panel today. It is such a humble to be here. So thanks for having me. My name is Lovely, and I am the founder of Pure Heavenly Hair Boutique. I also am a commercial luxury real estate agent here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And my latest is transformational coach to help you create your wealth, into the launch into the e-commerce space. So if you are looking to add, more income streams, I would be gladly and be able to assist and show you the way, because at the end of the day, we want to make, become the best version of ourselves and be the world creator that we are. That if you don't know where it's at, I'm here to coach you and transform that life. So again, I'm glad to be a part of this panel, and thank you for having me, ladies.
Thank you so much, Lovely. So next, let's have Alicia introduce herself. Unmute.
I thought y'all had it.
You got to unmute. You muted yourself again. There you go.
Yay! Okay. My name's Alicia Marcos Birong, and I am the president of Guided Choices, a life coaching program for women and girls. And I am the creator of a program called Chatter Girls. We have now a Chatter Girls movement. We're very excited about that. I've spent 30 years working with women and children, and really believe that we need to empower young girls to be powerful women for the future. And I feel like that is my job and my destiny. And so that's who I am.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I feel like you could have said a lot more, but we'll get into that later. Heather, tell us about yourself.
Oh, hi, everybody. I am grateful to be here amongst these powerhouse women that are all equally just amazing to me. My name is Heather Stokes Benton. So I am like most of us here, a wife, a mom, an entrepreneur, business owner, and a mompreneur. And I say all those things together because my business is Financial GPS. I've recently taken on through these collaborations, being an author and part of She Rise and authoring on women entrepreneur and mompreneur books. And now I've moved into not just entrepreneuring for myself, but teaching my children. And our goal is to teach other children the why wait, find what you want to be and move forward. So aside from meeting with families and trying to help them map out their financial wellness and future, also getting to where we can look at it as a family collaborative. So should you be mapping out just your future? Is that selfish? Should you be matching out your whole family's future, sitting down, understanding where you're at, where you want to go, and where you can go, and understanding all the different possibilities, being educated on those, and then deciding what you want to do. So you can find me on the new podcast, Financial GPS Mama, which is Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. You can find me on Facebook as Heather Benton. You can find my business page, Heather Stokes Benton, or you can find Financial GPS Mama group, where we give out all kinds of fun tips daily on how you can navigate to financial wellness, no matter where you're starting from. You know, I have people that start from bad places, like Pam was saying, sometimes they're coming out of their worst days, that need to rebuild. And then I have other people that are, just in different spots. So we will sit down and work with you no matter where you're at.
Incredible. So we are sitting together today also because She Rises Studios believes 100% in collaboration over competition. We believe that there is enough room in the arena for everyone, and everyone has a special talent, gift, and strategy in their business. With that said, each one of these women on the panel we have all collaborated with each other, whether it's been in books, summits, and workshops. We've all worked together. And so we're going to dive right into our very first question, which is each speaker has been given a 60-second time to answer just so that we can go around the room. So first I want to ask to Pam is, what is collaboration over competition? What does that mean to you?
Well, to me, I think it's going to be the same for all of us, given the panel and the people that are here. But for me, there's more than one life coach, as you can see right here on this panel. And I just feel that I would like collaboration over competition to eventually end like the whole mean girl syndrome, right? So I think that there's plenty out there for all of us. Not everybody's the right fit for everyone else. And I think even in the brief introduction, some of our lives and our journey and what we want to help women with overlap, and that's okay. And I think if you collaborate and you continue to just put the word out and good, and maybe it's a cliche, but I do think if you do the right thing, that the money and the clients will follow. And I just, there's always plenty. There's always plenty of people out there. And I just think that if you feel that where we're at here on earth and what God's given you, if there's some limit to it and it's not abundant, it's probably not the mindset of people I'd be with anyways. So I'm usually happy to be able to find that quite quickly. And as you mentioned before, all these ladies here, we've co-authored together. We've done other summits together. We're working on bigger things. And when I hear the other introductions also, and everybody has these movements, I want us all to have a movement because everybody's purpose is different. And my individual coaching, that's what one of the things I drill into, and I'm sure Lovely does as well as she goes through. But how you respond to that person, there's always the right fit. So to me, collaboration is to continue people to do the right thing and help them down that path, whether that means I direct a client of mine that might fit better with Heather, might fit better with Lovely. And that would be up to the client to decide. But if we come together and continue to empower women to move in the right direction and get rid of that mean girls club, I mean, to me, that's the ultimate collaboration over competition for all of us.
Thank you, Pam. So I would like to ask Lovely, what would you consider, what is your definition of collaboration over competition? Can you share your insight?
Yes, of course. That's something that we are every day. We breathe in this, in our society. When it comes to competition, the collaboration, we seems to have a lack of that. Pretty much every organization you go to. Like organization wise, luckily for She Rises, we have that tribe of leaning on women, talking with each other. Like Pam mentioned, we are almost like in the same field, but at the same time, we all serves a different purpose to other women out there. And I believe it's that empowering approach in each of us that we have. And we chose to have that sisterhood and be, collaborating and really like not see each other as, as a sore, into our business. We all can be in the same very field and be able to chip in each other and be each other's, backbone. And, if you have if you're having a moment, like, I know I can assist, I can be your strength. I am here for it, wherever your weakness is, and I will be that strength, and vice versa. And I think in this society we are living, there's a seems like, I need to get to that finish line. And to me, it's like, let's do it together. Why don't we just, let's not look at it, let's not look at each other. Like, say, for instance, a great thing I can say about your business. If I admire you, I see you doing something amazing, and you're already up to that ladder, and I want to, strive to get to where you, where you at. I'm not gonna try, to pull someone down to get to that, that space. My goal is like, collaborating, understanding each other, and achieving goals, solving problems. And I think that itself is an, outreach that, it'd be such, a better empowerment for women, along women, because there's like Pam mentioned, there's a seem to be like a mean girl syndrome. Whether we are grown, even like high school, we women, like, our 40s, 50s, whatnot, we should be a bit more, showing the young girls where, this is how you do it. This is how you can be stronger in life, by, standing with each other and, empower one another. So that's my collaboration when it comes to, empowering women, mompreneurs, wife, wherever you feel like you're stuck, to know that you can get unstuck by reaching out, to not feel like you're lesser than, because we all have a space and we all have our own path. And let's remember, we all have that different, lane. In together we can be stronger. So that's my truly, I would spread my purpose out there, to be with women, to be stronger.
Absolutely. So our second question for today's panel is, how do you monetize on a collaboration? And this question is going to first go to Heather Benton from Financial GPS Mama. How would you monetize on a collaboration?
Well, it's hard to say in general, because obviously different collaborations are going to lead to different things. But I would say that the biggest thing, similar to what Pam and Lovely had said, is you've got to allow the collaborative motion to be supportive of each other. So say you were in a book together, like some of us were, and you were going to speak, and you might be being paid to speak, but you were there with more than one of your co-authors. You would want to make sure that you are shining light on their strengths, right, and your strengths, and how that works together. So, and then honestly, you can also use, say you've done several different things, you've done summits or whatever, you can allow that to be part of your automatic platform for credibility, right? So if you've been collaborating with other women on maybe different events or different themes, that now becomes part of your portfolio and ends up that makes it better for both you and the other people moving into the future, that instant credibility that you will find as you go through these collaborations. I know that's what's helped me is, yeah, I'm in the financial world, and like Pam, in the legal world is extremely male dominated, always has been for a long time, always will be. Right. So sometimes having those other collaborations outside that then you can pull from gives you instant credibility amongst other people, because they stop and wait and go, oh, wait a minute, she's got her hands in several other things. She must really know what she's doing, whether you do or don't. We don't always have it as together as we may seem, right? But as long as we plug in and we keep moving forward and supporting each other, we are stronger together with a multitude of numbers than standing by ourselves trying to go up against what seems like an insurmountable pass, right?
Absolutely. So I'm going to bounce this question to Pam as well. How do you monetize on a collaboration? What does that look like for you?
Do you want me to answer that then? So for me, I liked your answer, Heather, when you said in general, because obviously it's going to depend on what that collaboration is. I think that collaborations can be monetized in that if each person actually gives value to what the other person does, and then you build from that value. And that has to be something that you're in that relationship with that person to decide what that means. So for example, some of the ladies here, we've co-authored a book and several books. And I know Hannah has done tons and tons of work to help us all get off our feet. And I don't know if we've never had to put a dollar amount on it. I don't know if we could, because we probably couldn't write a check that big. But so sometimes the collaboration and the efforts doesn't necessarily mean a check. So that monetize could build the credibility, like you said, or it could be so easy as, somebody else and they're going to let you post off of their feed or something for X amount of days. That's still considered a collaboration. So the collaborations don't necessarily have to be money exchange, but it's usually a way to give you that credibility or that platform. And again, the more people you reach, for us that are like in their 40s and over that 50 mark and that range, we remember direct mail and all those numbers and statistics. And, internet has its own logarithms, and that's probably more for Heather and the finance or the numbers. I don't like numbers, but I do know that the more people we share and the more collaboration you make that way, there's a greater chance for you to be recognized and monetized. So it doesn't necessarily mean, if you collaborate with 5 people, it's going to equal X amount of dollars. I'm sure somebody does those logarithms, but just the more exposure and it allows through the collaboration, it allows you to build those relationships. And that goes right back to sales and everything we've always done, even as you're growing, right? The more relationships, the more sales and opportunities you would have.
Absolutely. Connections are worth more than gold. We talked about that earlier today. It's your network is your net worth. If you're building those relationships, if you're collaborating with people, it's like what you said, it doesn't always mean a check in hand, but it does mean the connection, and those connections lead to other things. So it's that focal point. So my next question is going to go to Miss Angela Bell and Miss Lovely. So we'll start with Angela. How would you market a collaboration? What does that look like?
Good question. So for me, marketing a collaboration involves focusing on all the parties involved and marketing the strengths that they bring to that collaboration across all platforms of all the group members, right? So if it were, the 6 of us doing a collaboration, we would focus on each of our strengths and what we bring to the table and then put it out across all of our platforms. So I'm talking about Alicia and Lovely and Heather and Hannah and Pam. And in turn, they're talking about me. If we have, podcasts and different things like that, we're hosting each other on, and we're talking about how, our work together provides more to people than either of us individually, and how we're able to complement each other and really bring out the best for the people that are, benefiting from the collaboration, the clients, the customers, the audience, what have you. And it's really about understanding that, like, focusing on the relationship and focusing on the benefits and how exponential those benefits are by having the different parties involved, and making sure that as an individual involved, you're doing your part to promote your co-collaborators, right? Mm-hmm. So you're sharing their posts, you're liking them, you're making sure that when you go on social media, you're commenting and liking and really, helping them boost their algorithm scores or whatever they're called. But collaboration isn't just in the delivery, it's in the support as well, and working together to make sure it gets in front of the most people and can help the most people, right? Because the more people that see what you're doing, the more potential people can be helped by what you're putting out. So
definitely couldn't agree more. Lovely. How would you market a collaboration?
There's so many ways I can go with that question. It's just a support, the true support, and being each other's voice. Vice versa, and showing up for them when, like, say, for instance, if we're collaborating together, if they're having an off day, we'll take on, said, hey, I'm here. Just so you know, you're not alone. So be each other, understanding, each other's business, and be able to, like, stand with one another, and again, sharing their business throughout social media, through word of mouth. Let others know wherever you go, you, like, promoting, and let them know, hey, my business partner is doing this, almost like, spread the word around, and don't feel like, you're gonna lose by just sharing the others' success. So to me, it's truly like, we all have a purpose. So let's get stronger together by creating that, that supporting community, and just let the word out. She rises, spreading the word around, like, very, and also wealthy women, we put everything we say and do, we share that, vice versa. And remember, the more we share together, we're solving problems, and understanding, what, other women may be going through, it's like put a meeting of the minds and sit down and say, what else can we do to, to bring others into, into a space. It's not just about, me, in my own business. I'm here to reach out others besides just me and that, like, business partners. So collaborating to me is truly fundamental ways to, like, grow, because we never know enough. We're always here to learn. So it's always good to, like, like you mentioned, your net worth is your self-worth. So you're creating that wealth, and bring others into your space. So it's just the collaboration is so much more, bigger than we think. So I truly, I find empowerment in that, amongst these women that we are in right now, with the writing the books, understanding, we each have a story to tell. And that to me speaking of Alicia, what she does, Chatter Girls, me go and speak about, Angela Bell, with her books, vice versa. If I see it, I'm going to like it. If I'm going to commenting on it, make that, noise for each other, again, and empowering each other. So that's what I do for collaboration in my space.
So as you can see, we're only 30 minutes into collaboration over competition. None of this was really, I don't want to say put into a skit. They were all given the questions, but you can hear from the panel that these women understand why collaboration is so important versus competition, and why it's one of our main mantras in business and in life, for that matter. So moving along, my next question is going to be addressed to Miss Heather and Miss Alicia. I'll start with Heather. How do you work with women who are in the same niche as you or same arena?
All right. So this, for me, being in the financial world, is extremely competitive, right? And it is very at each other's throat most of the time, especially when you work with inside firms. I've never worked within a firm, but I have a cousin who started this journey in the financial world about 8 years before me, and she does work with, a firm. And I collaborate with her a lot. And even though I should see her as competition, I don't, because when I sit down with a client, I sit down with a family, we go through, and I may have even spent 10 or 12 hours over several days meeting with someone. But if they are in a specific mindset that just doesn't align with what I agree with or I do, I know that I can send them over there. I don't deal in the second and third markets. I don't deal in high risk stocks. I don't believe in setting up families for possible exposure. So it's good to know that there's other people within your niche that might better serve a client or a family and understand where they're at. Like you said before, Hannah, you do what's best for the client. You do what's best for the person in front of you. And as long as you do what's best, whether that means it's from you or from someone else, or give them what they're asking, because sometimes what's best for them is not what they're asking, right? But you have to recognize that you are going to be in a better position later, because later on they're going to go back and realize, oh, maybe I should have done this with Heather, or I have a family member that better works with you. They're going to give you referrals because you did what was right, even instead of just trying to monetize on them. Even like with Pam, she does family law. I'm in Florida. She doesn't necessarily do family law here, but if I have a family that I'm sitting down doing estate planning with, but I realize there's certain things that they really need to sit with an attorney and map out to make sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, I need to know my strengths and I need to know the other people's strengths so I can best serve the people that are in front of me. If you get caught up in trying to answer everybody's problem and solve every little thing, you're going to put extra stress on yourself, but you're also not going to properly serve the situation. And that's going to be a downfall. So collaborating within business is really the best thing you can do to strengthen your business by saying, these are my strengths. These are the other person's strengths. How can we best work together? There's even people within my team that I'm like, listen, if you want to do this type of thing, great. I have an amazing person that can do that for you. Right. And passing that over and making sure that you understand your boundaries and the other person's boundaries, and then put those things in the proper place in order to do what's right.
Thank you so much, Heather, for sharing. So I'm going to pass the question to Alicia, and then we're going to pause for a second. Dr. Sarah Allen has joined us, so I want to give her some time to introduce herself, and then we'll resume back to question and answer. So, Alicia, how do you work with women who are the same age?
Well, I really like this question because when I started coaching, there were not other coaches, and so there wasn't this field of there was one on every block. I was it. And so, as the years have gone, we come into a situation where more people have come into the field, which I love because, it is a situation where it's I'm not good at everything and I have to figure out my niche. And so everybody does. And so always in the field, when new people came in, a lot of people came to me to advise them how to get a coaching business going. And so I wanted to collaborate with them. I wanted to help them with that because I had already walked those driveways and tried to go through those trails of figuring out what that was, especially when it came to women. And, we grew up in a competitive world of girls who, you wanted this, but you didn't look like this, or you were great at this and somebody else was. And the word that fits right here is jealousy. And I think that as we collaborate, that word is thrown out. It's thrown away. And I think that when coaches became more effective in the world and are really choosing what they want to do, that word got eliminated. In my other field of hypnosis, I was also a pioneer in the way that people didn't work with children in hypnosis. And I entered a world of men. In the hypnotherapy field, the majority of people were men. And so it was very, very scary for me because I had worked as a therapist and most therapists were women. So, the collaboration is a journey. But it is a journey that you can open up to all these other people. We're as coaches, a lot of times we're alone. We're in our own little world and we're taking care of ourselves. And to do the books like we've done together, gosh, I've got to know so many people and personalities. And that's what we want for our daughters. We want them. We don't want them to have the jealousy. We want them to be able to connect to that. And as becoming coaches, we've given them that opportunity to look at the world a little different than the pioneer world that we came into. And I'm so thrilled that I have so many coaches who walk with me now. And it's a lot more fun.
Thank you, Alicia. So before we continue, I want to allow Dr. Sarah Allen to introduce herself, tell us a little bit about what she does, and then I will go forward with the next question.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for waiting for me. I appreciate that. I'm Dr. Sarah Allen. I'm a pediatric neuropsychologist and author and speaker and trainer who does a lot of work with helping people understand kids' brains. So I want everyone to start seeing their kids like little brains so that we can build skills instead of just managing behavior without losing our minds, because let me tell you, it's a tough job. So I work with a lot of parents and I work with a lot of teachers, and I do a lot of speaking for companies as well. And I'm really excited to be here. I have my book, Raising Brains, which I have right here. So, and this has been wonderful to join She Rises in the book tour we just did this weekend and in events like this. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you and welcome. So I am going to actually start with Dr. Sarah. My next question is going to be for all of the speakers. So we're going to kick it off with Dr. Sarah. And the question is this: what is the most important fundamental tool of collaboration over competition? So I'm going to start with you, Sarah.
Yeah, I really love this question. I think you mentioned, actually, I wanted to comment about jealousy earlier. You mentioned the word jealousy earlier. And I was just thinking about when you're thinking about collaboration over competition, it's not that you don't feel jealousy when you go to engage with other people. As a matter of fact, you probably will feel it pretty strongly at some points. But I think it's a matter of taking that and using that to help you identify where you want to be and what you want to do. If you kind of understand that jealousy tends to come from wanting to do or be something yourself, I think you can use it as fuel for collaborating with people and for kind of pushing ahead and really working together, because there's I love the creative energy that comes from collaboration. And I have a number of projects that I never thought I would work on and never get the opportunity to do. And that's all from just putting yourself out there and really figuring out where you fit together instead of where you are better or get better, getting into that competition mindset. So for me, the collaboration is really about pushing yourself, getting outside your box, and using that jealous feeling as fuel to figure out how do you collaborate and what does that look like?
Love it. Thank you. So we're just going to go around our virtual room. When you're speaking about collaboration over competition, Lovely, what is one of the most important fundamental tools that you could offer?
To me, I mean, it might be very different for everyone. Collaborate is to know yourself and know your purpose, know your value, and really truly respect your own boundaries. To other women, that's like she mentioned, a jealousy. Respect their space, because at the end of the day, we're gonna need each other somehow, some way. And somehow, if someone inspire you, be collaborate. Don't feel like you have to take away from their plate to feed, because at the end, like together, I think that's one of the most empowering thing we can we can find within ourselves, by knowing that standing alone, it's not always the best. Collaborate with each other in a field, whatever we're doing, to always be mind strong, and knowing that have the same, find that mindset, be, and also to again, be each other's support, and and then we'll together we'll reach, I guess, the stars, and know that be each other, rock, and to not to know, also that your availability of finding your true self inside is believe in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, other people's path will not trigger you. And that's my theory of when it comes to collaborating.
All right, I'm going to pass this question to Pam Kurt. Pam, what would you say one of the most important fundamental tools to collaboration is? What is something that you would say?
Well, initially, I thought listening, but it kind of ties together with the ladies already said. Again, we're in the same mindset. But for me, the most fundamental tool for collaboration was listening. And it was either listening to yourself, because again, I agree with everyone. You can't always collaborate until you get a certain point in your life, because whether you have a jealous feeling or whether you're concerned about something, you have to listen to that and kind of dig deep in order to figure out who you can collaborate with. And usually you want to collaborate with people of like mindset. And as you discover yourself and you continue to narrow your purpose and align, it's easier to say no to something or to somebody collaborating because maybe they don't serve your purpose. And that takes a lot of self-development also. So I feel like you have to listen to yourself, because if something doesn't feel right, it probably doesn't. And you also have to listen to your clients, because maybe there's something that from the relationship building you have that client would be better served by somebody else. And so it just listening to yourself or your clients and being true to that, I think are, for me, the fundamentals.
Awesome. Thank you. Angela, what would you say?
So I agree a great deal with what everybody has said before. First thing that came to my mind when I thought of this question was open communication and a focus on expansion. So with competition is based in contraction or lack, right? So it's based on the fact that there is a fixed amount of something and everybody needs to get as much as they can in order to have some for them. Whereas through collaboration, we're all about expansion. So if you focus on growth and expansion and how working with someone that may share the same niche as you, may, work with similar people to you, but how can you expand? How can you expand the market? How can you expand both of your offerings, your ideas, the value being offered? And then communicate openly so that you're voicing your needs and concerns, but you're also listening and really hearing what they need from the relationship as well, so that you can grow and expand together.
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies. I know we need to hear, what is the fundamental tool, Heather, for a collaboration? What would yours be?
So funny enough, I'm going to give you the notes I made on this, which is going to be very similar. Like Pam said, similar mindsets to everybody. And it's going to echo some of what Angela just said too. My note is be open to opportunity. So one of the biggest things is really just being ready to be receptive to the opportunity of collaboration. Just like last fall when Hannah called me and I didn't know Hannah from much of anything other than social media posts here and there. And she's like, do you want to do this? And I was like, okay. But I mean, I didn't put much thought in it. So being open to an opportunity is really the first thing you have to do. And my next note was understanding we limit ourselves. And I think, like Pam and Sona said, is that some of it comes with age, some of it comes with understanding of ourselves. And you can find that at any age, but whatever point in your life that you decide that you understand your worth, your ability, and where you want to go, you know. And so if you're open to the opportunities that'll be available through that collaboration that you may not even fully understand yet, and then also that you are fully understanding of what your role is within yourself, within your business, and where you want to go. I think those are the two biggest tools. But I think what you will find is if you keep that openness and your mindset and you're firm in yourself, you will find it opens doors you didn't even know existed, you know, as long as you're willing to go down that path and support each other. And I think that's the beauty of the collaboration. And what a lot of people don't understand is that they step back and they're standoffish, and it's like, what can I get out of this for me? Instead of saying, how can we serve the purpose? And then all of a sudden other doors are going to open because you were just serving the purpose and supporting each other.
Yeah, you kind of hit something, a nail on the head for me. So a lot of people think that when you're doing a collaboration, the first thing is the other person sometimes thinks, well, what's in it for me? And I'm hoping by doing workshops like these and just spreading the word that shouldn't be our first thought. Our first thought should be being open to a collaboration, being available, being ready. With that said, Alicia, what is your fundamental tool for collaboration? What's one thing you would share?
Well, I love listening to Pam because she took mine first, listen, but I believe it is common ground, and it's based on listening. Because, you know, when you're having a common conversation with a group of people and you're looking at collaboration, if you have a common ground, there's a focus of movement. You have that aha movement of, oh, I can work with her in great ways because I know her story, or I've done that. And so that common ground comes together. And I believe that a lot of the other stuff goes aside of the difficulty of working with that person. Once again, you know, going back to the word of, you know, competition, you know, that competition goes away. And when there is that common ground, whether, you know, they're a mother of the same amount of children you have, or they've written the same book, or whatever it is, that common ground will build that foundation for you to be able to collaborate with that with other people. So I do believe it is common ground, and I see that very much in writing of these books together. You know, in the situation of realizing that you're not alone, that so many things are connected with each other, and so yeah, I'd say it's common ground.
Thank you so much, Alicia and ladies, for answering. So moving along, my next question is going to be for Pam Kurt and lovely Laguerre. And the question is, give me one reason why business owners should collaborate. And I'm going to start with Pam.
If you want to make more money, I mean, right? And so I truly believe if you do what you love, and I know that's a cliche, money will follow. But if you don't collaborate with other business owners, like even in this field, in this industry, as coaches, and you know other coaches. I know Heather used a great example with accountants. And so obviously I do work with accountants, but they can only do so much, and then I can do so much, you know, my other job. But in this, it's the same thing though. I'm not going to design a website. I know I need to find someone, right? So why wouldn't you want to give business and exchange those ideas and collaborate with somebody else that has similar mindset? And there are, it's just that's sometimes the challenge, I think, to find them. But that's the only way to make money, is if you continue to collaborate with other business owners and build those relationships.
Thank you, Pam. Lovely. What is one reason why a business owner should be open to collaboration?
My goodness. To be supportive, creating more wealth creator, and show the road to other women. empowering one another. I mean, there's so many, ways to collaborate, by giving each other, a piece of the pie, like again, um, we don't know it all. That's why it's okay to to bring someone else to kind of fulfill that, your weaknesses, vice versa. Where I know my strength is to carry on, and I know what's better for me. So I'm gonna bring, Miss Alicia to kind of standing by my side to fulfill what what I don't know in that space. And that's one thing about Wayne Dyer actually. He says something very empowering. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Truly is something that stand, we don't know it all. And I think truly it's a fundamental, having each other and build each other's businesses, and having more opportunity, and having a growth mindset. It's you have to have that, in order for you to grow, to better yourself, your family lives, in other women that you are, involving with. So that's what I believe, being a collaborating, it's crucial, imperative to be a part of, giving each other, a, a, a a piece of what you don't know, and how they can fulfill that, vice versa. Yeah.
Thank you, lovely.
Thank you.
So my next question is going to be to Dr. Sarah Allen, Alicia Marcos Birong, and Heather Benton, and we'll start with Dr. Sarah. What is considered healthy competition?
I think healthy competition is really something that pushes you to be your best self. I think that would be the way that I would define that. I think competition can be healthy when you keep it healthy, right? When you keep it in making sure that you're staying true to yourself, that you're staying true to your goals. Lovely just talked about growth mindset, and I think that that's so valuable, especially something that I talk about when raising brains and kids in general, is keeping that kind of growth mindset approach. So if you're making goals and then you have a healthy competition, to be able to reach them in a supportive way that allows you to meet your goals and other people to meet their goals, I think that's always helpful. And from a brain-based perspective, you're just adding dopamine to the front of the brain by getting that win in the end of that competition. So it's a really good strategy as long as it stays in good spirits and keeps that growth mindset approach happening.
So you can all see, for all the viewers, why I chose these women, because they all have such a different but incredible perspective on what collaboration over competition is and why it is so important. And I wanted to share with you ladies on the panel that as we're speaking and as people are listening to you, I'm getting feedback. And I received a message from someone in Manila. So we're being watched globally, which is awesome. And she is saying, thank you for allowing and opening this conversation, because this is something that she needed today. So I wanted to share that with you. Moving on, what is considered healthy competition, Alicia?
Oh, good. The dog decided to stop barking during this. So I think healthy competition is realizing that everyone has a niche, but to be able to train and help other people in your niche. So I think that that's a situation. You don't look at them as a competition. You look as they have something to give you and you have something to give them, so partly like I train people to be pediatric life coaches. And so, or I teach people how to work with girls. That's a healthy competition situation. You're collaborating. You're not competing with them. You're sharing what values you've learned with somebody else so that they can grow and they can be able to expand their world. And so I think that we do that with, we're doing that with our children. We're hoping our mothers are teaching our children how to do that. That's really, really important. Dr. Sarah talked about mindset. I absolutely think that our mindset of when we're secure in who we are and what we want in this world, we can be able to serve and work with anybody, no matter what it is. So I really think is sharing your gifts with somebody else is one of the best ways to collaborate.
Thank you, Alicia. Heather, what would you consider healthy competition?
Well, to me, healthy competition, especially within the collaboration world. So, say you're collaborating, whether that be a paid collaboration, maybe you hire somebody to do a website, you've hired somebody to be your coach, whether it's just a joint collaboration with someone else, even within your own niche. If you could do some goal setting together, if this is what we want to accomplish, that's going to help give you the accountability. So, it's not so much a competition, but it gives you accountability to each other. This is what we're trying to do. This is where we want to go. And as you accomplish some of those goals, maybe just putting in some things that will be, benefits to you. Like say, hey, if we can get, so many followers by this amount of date, then I say we go on, a special lunch date or something. Just creating those little goals that are attainable and achievable will help you feel better as you're going along this collaboration and journey, and helps feed each other to want to accomplish those things. So I think healthy competition would be goal setting and a credibility to the team you're working with or the other person that you're working with, so that you guys have incentive and drive to want to achieve things.
So I would like to continue this question, and I'm going to ask our three remaining panelists, what is considered healthy competition, Pam? Because you are in a very competitive field.
Well, I think, again, a lot of us have already, we have very similar thought process. Imagine that, right? We all have the same mindset. And the one thing that I did want to say is that I think I appreciate Lovely's words saying about creating wealth. And I said, no, I just, how do you make money? So it was a little better crafted, I must say. I think healthy competition is something that you also define yourself. So when you said my industry is really busy or, competitive, which accounting the same way. So for me, if somebody comes in and I'm trying to land that client and maybe they're a $5,000 retainer client, $7,500 retainer, if I'm in a position in my life and in my mindset that if we just don't connect, they don't need to be my client. And, you have to be secure in yourself to do that. So healthy competition for me is to be able to continue to grow collaborations, but also not settle. Like you want to grow your business, but don't settle and just take anything or everything to say you're growing your business. And if you're doing healthy collaborations, maybe that person's not a right fit for me. Maybe they have a finance issue also. So a healthy competition is to then give that business to somebody more fitted. So I just think knowing yourself, that mindset, and being not afraid to refer people out, or knowing there's plenty out there. There's definitely more abundance. I think that's a good example. Thanks.
Thank you. Angela, what would you consider a form of healthy competition?
I think that healthy competition is when the competition is meant to help all parties involved grow, and it's done good-naturedly, and it's not like it's based in kindness and love and mutual respect, right? So if I want to take up running, we all know I love running, so if I have a friend that wants to take up running and we've got a healthy competition where whichever one of us runs the most that week gets dinner from the other one or something, where it's challenging each other to read a book or challenging each other to post more frequently, but where it's meant to grow both all of the parties involved, and it's done good naturedly, and it's not ever done to someone's detriment, right? Like it's never at the exclusion of someone or where their loss is painful, right? It's where we're all just trying to be better, and really you're competing against the you that you were yesterday, and it's just someone else is helping encourage you along by giving you a goal. So because I think that competition can be very healthy. It's when it becomes mean-spirited and it's done at the expense of the wellness of others, that it becomes very unhealthy, or when it focuses on lack and scarcity as opposed to all of us rising up together.
I love that. Thank you, Angela. Lovely. What would you say to healthy competition?
A healthy competition to me is when we all have a win-win mindset. There's at the end of the day, we each reaching a goal. It's not something where we say, I see your path. I mentioned that we all have a path. All have a success. Our aspirations or goals are not the same. So when we find each other and we find that alignment, we just have to be each other's winner and championing, and also to just remember, as we are growing, we're gonna find each other. We're gonna find someone that's we so admire. Wanna be in their reach out that same goal. It may take them 20 years to get there. So when you get there to learn, remember to have patience, and believe in yourself, and know everybody's time is different. So to appreciate that, and then and collaborate with each other, and not feel like you want to rush to success, because we all had our time. When it take like 20 years, when you met me, it take baby steps, and then be able to have again like patience until as you reach your goal, and we can have a win-win situation and teach each other something valuable at the end. Have that mindset. So that's my healthy way of going with each other. So.
Thank you, lovely.
Thank you.
So my last question to all of you is, what happens when conflict arises inside the collaboration that you formed? How do you solve that problem? What's one tool that you can use to help that collaboration succeed, to grow, to flourish? Because when we talk about collaboration, I know for me personally, if I'm collaborating with someone, it's because I want to see them succeed. I want to see them grow. I want to see them be successful in all avenues that they envision for themselves. So it's almost like the people that you're collaborating with really do have to have that same mindset, that same heartfelt sincerity to say, hey, you know what? Alicia might get there faster than myself, but that's okay, because we're in the same boat. We're rowing the same direction, right? But what happens when somebody's rowing the opposite direction? How do we solve conflict within collaboration so that the relationship can continue to flourish, to grow, and continue to be on the same team? And that's my question to each one of you ladies, because I know each and every single one of you has faced it. And some of us more than others. So I would love to hear first and foremost from
Pam. So not all attorneys are all conflict, but it's interesting to me. I think I would handle conflict in business different than I handle conflict in the lawsuits, right? And so I always say, if I have to put that mom lawyer voice on, things aren't going to go well. I think in conflict in general, especially in collaboration for business, if there's something, you can feel it bubbling. And if you have that mindset, I completely agree. I mean, you have to have that same mindset. When something's off, you can feel it. And even though I'm an attorney, like, it's not my goal in life to have confrontation every day, all day long. So I just think that if you feel that conflict coming, the best thing is to confront it sooner than later. And, unfortunately, we're of a time in 22 that we have to say most conflicts are better than on a phone than sending somebody a text, because of the content, if they're already feeling uncomfortable. So I just think if there's conflict arising in a collaboration and you can feel it, or you're suspect, your gut's probably right. And then I would reach out to that person sooner than later. People can do a lot of things in email and text, whether they intend to or not. And then as you send it, if there's already a conflict, how they read the tone and so on. So I think it's best to address the conflict phone or in person. It's kind of old school, but I mean, even Zoom, I guess, if you needed to, because you could see their face. And it's harder, and you can usually have a more genuine conversation to find out what that conflict is. But I think that to address it sooner than later because then things that maybe weren't even part of a conflict usually add to that negativity. So you want to kind of nip it as soon as possible. At least try.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks.
Pam. Lovely, what would you say?
When it comes to, I mean, luckily for me, I'm like very like, try to like, always, diminish the tension if anything's happening. It's to always have a conversation and to not let time bypass, because at the end of the day, our success and growth cannot have any kind of stipulation on it. So we have to like confront it early on and be able to be in that same mindset, like minded individual, how we started our business. Be like be happy and be able to interpret each other. We can do the same when it comes to like setting aside our differences. So it's always good to have that, like to know like something's happening, like and like Pam Kurt mentioned, you feel it in your gut that you have to confront it as soon as possible. And again, have that conversation and be able to understand each other. How do we move forward from here? Because at the end of the day, we are business partners. We are here to be each other, leader, to be each other's, leadership, to be that in that space. So, and we don't want others to see that we are crumbling and falling apart. If we cannot be a leader into the room, how can someone learn from us? So at the end of the day, we want to make sure we put our differences aside and have that respectful conversation at all costs. And I think it's crucial in business when you hit that unkind setting, you just fix it. And there's a way to everything. So
Thank you, lovely. Alicia, what would you say to this question in terms of what happens when there's conflict? How would you solve it?
Well, I think you have to check yourself first. I think you have to look at what your ideas are and why they're in conflict. I mean, we do this with children. We put them together and, try to figure out why they're arguing or what's going on. But we both always want to look at each person's and consider each person's ideas and thoughts. So I think that comes down to the most important. And also going back to what we talked about before is listening. Listen to what they're saying. Let it go through. Redo the screen. Look at it again. Put it through. Rerun it. And and then also, how are you communicating with that other person? Are they seeing you in an aggressive way that they kind of shut off, or they, bring up things that are bothering you? So I think we have to look at body language. We look at all of those things to be able to figure out what the main issue is, and why it's not going the right way. And then at the very end, or as you're making movement, go back to what the goals are. Why did you decide to collaborate with that person in the first place? You knew this, but all of a sudden you see another side. But I think the most important thing is look at yourself first before you go to address it in collaboration.
Thank you, Alicia. Okay, I'm going to go to your neighbor, Dr. Sarah.
I think when it comes to conflict, we have to remember what the purpose of that is. So I often say conflict breeds change. And so when you're having this major conflict, it's helpful, I think, to think about it as a change point and try to, kind of like you were saying, Alicia, go back and look at the goals and make sure that the conflict could serve a purpose here. But the only way it's going to do that is through communication and through emotion management also. So we need to be aware of what we're thinking and what we're feeling and what is stirring that conflict, whether that be an internally in you, or, an external conflict with someone else. And then be able to communicate those thoughts and feelings in a way that can be heard, and then be able to understand and listen to the other side as well. And I think what helps with that is by understanding that conflict is going to breed some kind of change, and to have an idea of the direction of that change you may want it to go in can be helpful. And then using your communication skills to be able to identify how you're feeling, identify how the other person is feeling, be able to really hear each other and promote growth out of that, create some growth opportunity out of that. I think that's when conflict can actually be a really powerful tool for moving a relationship forward, for moving a collaboration forward. We often think of conflict as a negative, as something that will hold us back, but it has the potential to propel you forward.
I love that. And I only know conflict breeds change because I've read your book. And if you haven't read her book, read her book. It's very good. And it's not, I say this because I've read it. I'm on my third read of it again, and I always learn something new. And that's pretty much with all books that I read. I like to reread and reread because you learn something new. And conflict does breed change. I totally agree. With that said, I want to follow up with this question with Heather. What is your insight?
Okay, again, very similar. I wrote down honest conversations, which I think is what we've touched on, is when you find something's not working, again, whether that be a paid collaboration, you've hired, a marketing team, or you've hired someone to come in and help you with something, or whether this be, a mutual collaboration with amongst inside your team, if you, have a business as a team, or whether this should be a collaboration with someone of a completely different niche. If you find it's not going the way you originally thought, first you need to have an honest conversation with yourself. Did I do everything I was supposed to do? Right. And what were those results? Were they the way I wanted them to be? Were they not? A lot of times we put expectations on ourselves. And especially when something's not going right, our mother instincts cook in, and it's like, how can I fix this? But when you're dealing with someone else, maybe that's not the right approach. Maybe it shouldn't be, oh, let me just put a Band-Aid on this and we'll deal with it later. It should be an honest conversation with yourself, and then sitting down and have an honest conversation with them. Maybe you're not aware that there's something else going on within their business or within their life that has prevented them from meeting the goals that they want to meet with you. And maybe you need to be adaptable, like Dr. Sarah said, to what that change is going to be. And maybe it's a good change. Maybe it's, okay, now we know this doesn't work, right? And we can move on and find something that does work better for both of us. But I would never approach something with just a closed-minded, aggravated, frustrated mind. You need to take that time and breathe, have that conversation with yourself, really map out where you want to be and where you want that conversation to go. Don't just pick up the phone all mad and make that phone call, because it's not going to go down the way you need it to. But I do agree with Pam too. And I know we're used to texting and emailing and, messaging and things like that. And if it's a quick question or something like that, and you just don't want to take up their day, that's great. But for things like this, when there's truly a conflict, it really needs to be a meeting in the minds. It really needs to be a phone call. It needs to be a Zoom, an in-person coffee, whatever you can do. Because if that person does have something else going on, it's going to be hard for them to convey that. And, just like Alicia and some of us said, they may take that completely wrong, aside from what you're trying to say. So it really needs to be a one-on-one personal conversation, but an honest conversation. And they might be feeling the same thing. They might be feeling that you're not living up to something you were supposed to be doing. So that's why I said, check yourself first, like Alicia said, and then kind of map out what you're going to say and do, and be open to the change that's going to come.
I love that. I love that we can be so transparent, because as I mentioned earlier, before asking this question, we've all gone through it. So to understand it is to have gone through it, and to come out on the other side and that collaboration still be successful and still going forward is what's important. I do believe that each of you has a different perspective, and I love it. I do want to hear from Angela Bell before we go forward. What is your take on this question?
So I think everybody's had fantastic answers to this, and I agree with, open communication and, checking yourself. One thing I find very effective in conflict is to suspend judgment and remember, you're not a mind reader. You don't know what they're thinking. You can't see the future. Because oftentimes we create so much of that conflict in our minds based on an interpretation, right? So maybe they missed a deadline. Maybe we think they missed a deadline and we didn't even set a deadline. Like there's so much that we create ourselves. And so if we can suspend judgment, and again, as everyone said, remember why we got into this, remember what our goals were, and remind ourselves we don't know what they're thinking. We have no idea what they're thinking. I think I'm a mind reader, ask my husband, but I'm not. Like that's the thing, is I'm not. But if we remember that, and then we ask questions with genuine curiosity, right? Ask wanting to hear what they have to say. Don't ask a question and then wait to answer. Ask a question and genuinely want to hear what they have to say about it. And then think about it and talk. And if we can do those things, we can come out on the other side of a conflict and still like the person.
I love it. So before we close out today, and we did finish a little bit earlier than expected, which is good because we always want to be respectful of people's time. I wanted to give each one of the panelists a brief 30, 60-second time to go around. And I want you to leave our viewers and listeners with a takeaway for you on what collaboration over competition is. One gem that you can pay it forward to someone. So I'm going to start with Dr. Sarah, and then we'll go to Alicia, and then we'll go to Lovely.
I think if I have to sum it up, collaboration is an opportunity for creativity, for growth. It's a way to move yourself outside of the box that you're currently in and really propel yourself forward, as I said, whether that's through the conflict that may come from collaboration or just from the energy that comes around that creative process.
Thank you, Sarah. I love it. Alicia.
Well, I think that after listening to everybody and everybody's had so many amazing statements, and they've already given us a lot of gems, but I think that the most important one is that if you're going to collaborate and you want it to be a collaboration, not a competition, you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are, and you have to be able to be comfortable with your identity. So know yourself first, and then be able to go outside of your comfort level, because otherwise it becomes something else. So I think the most important thing is know yourself and feel comfortable with who you are and what you're about.
Thank you, Alicia. Lovely.
Yes. The last thing I would like to mention is to, is to believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, and believe you can be with other women. That's also to their own boss. You're here to create wealth together and inspiring one another, and be, and be like a lesson for all. And remember, as we're doing it, always remember to always be kind along the way. Yeah.
Thank you, Lovely. Let's go with Angela, and then Heather, and then we'll end with Pam.
Thank you. I think what I'd like to leave people with is this idea that collaboration is a lot like money, and that it's a multiplier. It won't fix anything about how you feel about yourself, your business, what's going on. It multiplies what already exists. So if you are, like Lovely said, confident in yourself, and like Alicia said, you know yourself, that collaboration is going to multiply that. But if you're not there yet, it's going to multiply all the other stuff too. So, collaboration is such a great tool in that it can help you grow and multiply things, but it won't fix anything.
Okay, well, for me, collaboration, I know Hannah and a lot of ladies here, we've talked about this theme of limitless. this year, you know? And I think collaboration truly helps you become limitless, because where sometimes we limit ourselves within our own minds, with our own expectations of things, if we're collaborating with others, they will help us realize where we are limiting ourselves and maybe even push us past barriers that we feel uncomfortable with, right? Either by watching the example of the other people doing it, or by feeling like, hey, I want to jump on board and do that too. So I think through collaboration, if you truly want your business to grow, or you want to grow as a person, I believe collaboration is a very healthy way to get you past certain boundaries or things you may have with yourself and become truly limitless, because like some of us said before, it gives you a level of support you may not have even known you needed. And through those experiences, as you watch other women or other people experiencing things, it empowers you to know that it's possible and push you past those things. So for me, opening up to the idea of collaboration, and I know COVID has been horrible for all of us, but COVID forced me into the world of social media instead of meeting across a kitchen table like I did for so many years. And, you know, Pam, you know, in the legal world, you don't really advertise. So all of this collaboration and all the social media and stuff is extremely new for me, only like within the past 2.5 years. But my personal goals, my business goals, my family goals, my generational goals have all multiplied, like Angela said, because of the collaborations and understanding that more things are possible. So I think if your goal and your mindset is truly to be limitless, without collaboration, it's going to be nearly impossible to accomplish that. So I think collaboration is very healthy, whether it be on a personal or a business level.
And Pam, before you answer, I just would ask that you ladies stay on for about 3 more minutes before we end. Pam.
So ditto. No. No, I wrote my notes too. And like Heather, I was like, well, they already said that. Well, they already said that. But I feel that collaboration is a way to grow, that it's a way for you to know there's no limits and to be your true self. And I think that's kind of how it's interesting, because I want to put in big letters, best version of you, because I can get everybody to say it and see I didn't even really try. So collaboration is for people to be true to themselves and to bring that best out. And that's kind of why I started that other company. So to collaborate and to bring women together. So see, we did that subliminally and not everyone knew it. But I appreciate the opportunity for being here today, Hannah. Thank you.
Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing, you know, your truth. We always appreciate and respect the experts, and each one of you has offered a different perspective. And this is something that, you know, I feel like we could talk about for hours, but we'll leave it at this. And this is something that that I talked about earlier today with a colleague of mine. Porter Gale, and I do follow a lot of her stuff. She said it best: your network is your net worth. And meaning, the more you collaborate, the more you put yourself out there, the more you allow in, the better it is. And each one of you has taken the time out today to be a part of this panel. Each one of you has been a part of a collaboration, successful collaborations. Each one of you has gone above and beyond in the collaborative field. And I just wanted to say thank you to each one of you for taking time out of your day. I was super excited to do this with you, and I am sure that you have paid it forward in opening that door of collaboration over competition. So thank you for joining us. We will be doing another event next month in June. I believe it's the 10th. Don't quote me on that. Of women in the boardroom. So each month, She Rises will be doing something different. If you are interested in being part of this panel, if you would like to meet these women, if you would like to collaborate with these women, you can find them on social media. You can find them on our website. We will include all their information into the show notes so that they are easy access to you. Thank you, ladies. It's an honor and a pleasure to see your beautiful faces, and have a collaborative Tuesday. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.